Yo, what is good? So recently I was able to pick up an arcade stick that I'd had my eye on for a while. That's going to be the Hori Fighting Stick Mini for the Nintendo Switch. So normally this is a $50 arcade stick, but maybe a week ago I saw Wario64 post that it had gone on sale for $20, and so I grabbed two of them. So I ended up getting two of them for less than the price of the one that I was planning on buying, and I think at $20 it's a no-brainer, no matter kind of how crappy it is or like what the cons ends up being. At $50 you're kind of on the boundaries of having to think about it a little more, which is what I did. It's been in my cart for maybe like 2 or 3 months on Amazon, but like I said, at $20 I just pulled the trigger on two of them. But in this video, I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of an overview, take a look at it, and just kind of see what this thing is all about in 2023, especially because this is like a 3 or 4 year old stick, and a lot of the videos are about 3 or 4 years old. So yeah, let's take a look at it. So inside the box, it's pretty simple packaging. We have the fight stick wrapped in this foam. I do like that they put the cardboard around the lever to protect it in shipping. Amazon put this in an envelope that didn't have any amount of protection around it, so I'm glad it showed up in good shape. I put it next to an 8-bit dough that I have, 8-bit dough arcade stick, just so you can see a size comparison. The Fighting Stick Mini is actually very small, and then just putting my hands on both sticks so you can get an idea of scale. One of the differences between them that you'll notice pretty much off the bat is the button sizes are different. The buttons on the Fighting Stick Mini are smaller, and the lever is actually smaller too. Like it's more narrow than the lever on the 8-bit dough arcade stick. I feel like the 8-bit dough arcade stick is more standard. And then on the Fighting Stick Mini, the buttons are going to be about 3/4 inch diameter, so definitely smaller. And then just for the system buttons, we have the share button, home button, select, start, and then there's a turbo button. Looking inside of the Mini, it kind of sucks that the buttons are soldered directly to the PCB, so it's going to make it harder if you want to modify this thing. And looking at the lever itself, it's got a square gate, which is kind of the preferred gating for Japan. We more so see the octagonal gates here in North America, but I think it's a good general purpose stick. And then the all-important sound check. So I wanted to capture some gameplay of me using the actual stick and playing the game, obviously. So playing some Crimzon Clover to get an idea of how this plays with the shmup. I feel like the buttons don't really bother me, and my hands aren't tiny, and so I was able to hit each individual button relatively easily. I do like playing Crimzon Clover a lot. My hands tend to cramp a lot playing it on an Xbox controller, so this is one game for sure that I'll play on an arcade stick, and it looks like I'll be able to do it fairly easily on Fighting Stick Mini here. Yeah, get wrecked. So I wanted to also try this out with a beat 'em up. So I subscribed to Switch Online, and I have access to the Sega Genesis emulator. So fired up some Streets of Rage 2 and gave the old Fighting Stick Mini a go here. It's no surprises, it pretty much plays how you would expect it. There's no issues, I don't think. It was kind of a pain to set up with Sega Genesis Online because I plugged in the Fighting Stick Mini as a USB input, and then it was registered as player 2, and so I couldn't control the game initially, and I had to go into the menu for Sega Genesis Online and set this controller to player 1. And so Virtua Fighter 2 is a fighting game that's available through Sega Genesis Online, so I just wanted to try this out with a fighting game. Virtua Fighter was one of my favorite games, so being able to play this thing at home was awesome. And the square gating on the Fighting Stick Mini works pretty well here. You're able to hit the diagonals really easily, and there's luckily no kind of Street Fighter-esque inputs in this, so not entirely sure how it would work out there. I decided to try this out with Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. Everything was going really well until I started a match. And lo and behold, I found out the Fighting Stick Mini actually doesn't work with Smash Bros. And that's because the lever is mapped to the D-pad, and you actually need an analog stick in order to move your character. So if you want to play this with Smash Bros., it's going to be a no-go, unfortunately. And I wanted to try this out on an Xbox, so if you have one of these Brook WingmanXB adapters, you can just plug it in to the adapter, plug that right into the Xbox, and then it just plug and play at that point, really. So I fired up some Tekken 7. This has been a game that I've been getting into pretty hardcore lately. Check out my Twitch channel if you want to come hang out and maybe play some Tekken. But inputs were super smooth. I was able to, for the most part, play this game. I've been playing this game on a controller, so this was my first time playing on a fight stick, and it's just kind of trying to get used to playing on a fight stick. But the Fighting Stick Mini was playing really well. Again, like hitting those diagonals was really, really nice, and that's originally why I wanted to get an arcade stick, was because diagonals specifically on my controller and hitting buttons that required multiple buttons at the same time were inconsistent. So what are some pros of these things? Pros for me, I do like the size of this. I do like that I can fit it easily on my desk in front of my keyboard, so if I'm streaming on Twitch or something, I can just very easily have this thing sitting in front of me, and it's not going to be awkward. I don't have to push my keyboard almost off my desk. I don't have to sit at a weird angle in order to fit this thing on my desk. It literally can sit right in front of my keyboard, and I can still comfortably type on my keyboard. Another pro of this, I do like that it's easy to get inside of the stick. There's no weird proprietary screws. There's no screws covered by the feet on the arcade stick or anything. Like, everything is very easy to access. The one thing that I do wish was that the buttons weren't soldered to the board, the PCB itself. So that does make it a little bit harder if you want to modify it. I said at the beginning of this video, $50 is kind of the price point where you're going to kind of want to think about it before you buy it, because maybe there's some other options for you. That's going to be kind of a pro and a con to me. A pro in that if it goes on sale, it's going to be less than $50. Like I said, I bought it for $20, and at $20, I do think it's just like a no-brainer. If you want an arcade stick for the Switch or that you can use on an Xbox, it's just a stupid good deal just buying it at $20. But at $50, maybe there are different options out there. So cons, when it comes back to the buttons being soldered to the PCB, that's one con that I can think of. Even though I said it was a pro that it's easy to get to, a con that you have to desolder the buttons if you want to take them out and replace them with something else. But if you're the type of person that's going to want to replace the buttons anyways, like, desoldering isn't going to really stop you, I don't think. And at that point, once you've desoldered the buttons, you can just create some kind of like quick release system and then just replace it with that real quick. Another con I think is the stick. It's not so much a con with this stick specifically, because I think basically any kind of stick that you're going to buy at retail, when it comes from retail, it's just going to have a really clicky lever. Yeah, I think that basically covers it. So who is this for? I think this is for anybody that kind of wants the arcade feel from back in the day, if you're going to be playing some of these retro games that made their way to the Switch. I like playing a lot of shmups. I like playing a lot of fighting games. I like playing a lot of just general arcade games. And so I like playing in some kind of arcadey way. Again, who is this for? This is for the person that just wants the arcade feel. This is not like a top dollar product. This is not the flagship arcade fight stick. This is not something you're going to take to Evo and take home the gold. This is just something that lets you play games in a fun way, and just something outside of the normal with a normal controller. At $20, again, it's a steal, so keep your eyes out. If you can find this for 20 bucks, it's such a good deal, I think. And then anything above that, you're starting to get more and more, you're going to have to kind of really do some research on it, watch some videos on YouTube, understand if this is the thing that you want, and go from there. And with that, I think we'll call this video here. Since I did buy 2 of these, I did have plans on modifying one of them, and I think I'll do a video on that modification. So at some point in the future, I will post that here, obviously. So if you'd like to see that in the future, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I don't know how liking it or commenting is going to help you see this in the future, but if you subscribe, you can definitely see it in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching and hope you have a good one. Deuces.